Welcome. Today is March 26th, and we are well into our Being Alone Together series, the Corona Challenge. And I really am happy to be here with you and to help you to navigate your interior and to create a little moment of peace, a touchstone of peace in your day. Many of us are really struggling, and I saw it today. There's certainly a lot of changes since the very first day of this, or it's the first week of it. And, you know, I walk on the beach every day. I'm lucky enough to drive there and get a chance to walk my dog. And today I really noticed a big shift. I noticed it yesterday too, but I noticed something I hadn't really recognized. And I want to share it with you today because I think it's keeping us from living, really. Many of us are afraid of this virus. For those of you who don't know, I believe I had it. I'm waiting for the test to show my antibodies so that I can actually help people in person. It did feel like I was going to die. I didn't end up in the hospital, but I just remember feeling I'd never felt anything like that before. And it was scary. And I can understand people who are afraid of it. But we were walking along the beach, and there were certainly people walking 6 feet away from their friends, which is brilliant, and having their mask on their face, which is fine. But I noticed something besides the physical. I noticed that emotionally, people were really, really paralyzed by fear. I saw the same thing at the grocery store, paralyzed by fear. And I thought, you know, don't you think we should live until we die? I mean, none of us knows when our day is going to come, but wouldn't it be beautiful if we could be very present and relaxed and calm and prepared as we move through this challenge and move through our lives? Many of us have faced a lot of hard times in our lives. And of course, this time in the history is unprecedented in terms of dysregulation and stripping away everything that we have been used to. But I invite you to really look at appreciating your life, living as if you're already alive, living and appreciating your life today instead of living and waiting for the next shoe to drop and being in that fear-based, contracted, anxious mode. I mean, it cannot be good for the nervous system. I just kept praying for these people I saw because I know that their body is tense, their immune system is in the fight or flight defensive mode, and they are unable to relax into the beauty and wonder that surrounds them. Yes, we all have to be prepared for this virus. Yes, we are at some point maybe going to meet our maker, probably not because of this virus, but you don't know. And in the meantime, let's live until we die. Let's live, let's love, let's appreciate our lives. Let's be grateful for what we do have, the beauty and the wonder around us, the support around us. And if you notice, and I'm sure some of you notice, I notice it too, the waves of anxiety, the waves of sadness, the fear that things are not going to go back to normal, we have to meet that. We have to be kind to ourselves when we're feeling that way. And we have to do something purposefully to let the nervous system settle down. So I was reading, I don't know if you've seen this, it's from Bill Gates, and he was being interviewed by one of my favorite, in one of my favorite magazines called The Sun. I don't have a copy here, but it's a advertising free magazine, and I've been reading it for probably 35 years. Anyway, he said, as I meditate upon this COVID virus, I'm a strong believer that there's a spiritual purpose behind it. And this is what I feel this virus is really doing to us. I'm going to share this and see if it rings true to you. Number one, it is reminding us that we are all equal, regardless of our culture, religion, occupation, financial situation, or how famous we are. This disease treats us all equally. Perhaps we should treat each other that way too. And he said, if you don't believe me, ask Tom Hanks. Number two, because as you may know, Tom Hanks and his wife both have been tested positive. Number two, it's reminding us that we are all connected, and something that affects one person has an effect on another. The contagions of peace and joy, the contagions of gratitude and acceptance, they are they are contagious just as this disease is, and just as the contagions of anxiety, depression, and sadness. So remembering that and remembering your ripple effect, we're going to be doing a meditation on a ripple effect in just a little bit. I just want to read you a couple more of these. It's reminding us of how precious our health is and how we maybe have moved to neglect it through eating nutrient-poor manufactured food and drinking water that is contaminated with chemicals upon chemicals. Number 4, it is reminding us of the shortness of life and what is most important for us to do, which is to help each other, especially those who are older and unwell. Our purpose is not to buy toilet paper. It's what he wrote. And then the last couple, I'll just read 2 more. It is reminding us of how materialistic our society has become and how, when in times of difficulty, we remember that it's essentials that we need: food, water, medicine, and I would add community, as opposed to the luxuries that we sometimes unnecessarily give value to. And number 6 is reminding us of how important our family, our home life is, and how much we may have neglected it. It's forcing us back into our houses so we can rebuild them to create this home and strengthen our families. And for those of us who don't have families that we live with, I believe it's really helping us to evaluate or reevaluate our relationships, what's toxic, what's nourishing, and reaching out to communities for support, whether it's on the Zoom call like this or maybe a telephone call. So for those of you who have just joined us, that was from Bill Gates and an interview recently with the magazine called The Sun. But it is the great leveler, this striving for health and wellness, well-being, and peace. And no matter what you drive, what you wear, what you have, we all have to come to reckoning with our lives and how we look at the world. So meditation has served to change my perspective on everything. It has changed the way I see the world, the way I feel about what's happening, whether it's happening to me or for me. And that's why I've been teaching meditation for 25 years and meditating for 30, always looking for that love and that peace. And I know that no matter how much I look outside, the wellspring of it is inside. So my name is Sarah McLean. I've been doing these meditations now for a little bit, and I'm so happy you're here with me. Whether you're new to meditation or you're a regular meditator, I hope that you'll get some benefit from today. I like to start every meditation with mindfulness. And mindfulness is really an antidote for the traveling mind that might travel ceaselessly into the future and the fear that, oh no, what's going to happen? I'm going to be sick. I'm not going to make it. Or traveling into the past, wishing for the way things were to happen again. So mindfulness means paying attention on purpose to what you're doing and feeling and who you're in front of and what your media is that you're surrounded by. It's being engaged in what you're doing while you're doing it with a non-judgmental, gentle attention. I like to call it an open awareness, an open aperture of your lens. And so mindfulness is a reminder to be right here where your life is, not in the future where your life it's just fantasies of what's going to happen because the future unfolds in the present moment, and not in the past, which is now gone, although we can certainly mine the past for memories and our loved ones and our relationships. But right now is the most important, this moment, how you're doing right now. So I'm going to guide us into a mindfulness practice to settle the nervous system, to help you become a little more self-aware. And it's going to be a meditation. And then I thought I'd invite you to practice what are called sutras. Now, let me explain what that is. Sutras are, they come from the word suture, which means stitch. And sutras are basically desires or seeds of desire that you plant, and you keep planting them into the stillness that's created in meditation. And hopefully, just like many desires, they will be made manifest. So we will practice this after we've settled the nervous system through a little meditation. If you have your favorite type of meditation you want to do, I invite you to do that. You don't have to do anything I'm doing. It's just nice to be together. But I'm going to guide you through this whole practice, and it'll be about, I'd say about 15 minutes or so. Some basics. Sit comfortably. Lie down. Oops. Oops, can you hear me? I just moved my microphone and it unhooked itself. So we're going to sit relatively still with our eyes closed, but you can open your eyes and scratch an itch, look around, and if you have to lie down, you can certainly do that. Number 2, it's okay to get off track. A lot of times in meditation is spent off track. So your job is to come back again and again, back to the focus of the meditation. Number 3, let's be kind to ourselves as we go through this practice. And number 4, let's not try to have a certain experience. Let's have the experience we're having. Number 5, let's stick with this whole practice. So thoughts are okay, be kind to yourself. Have the experience you're having, welcoming everything, expecting nothing. Let go of any expectations and stick with the entire practice. So I'm going to make sure everyone's muted, and we're just going to welcome everything. Let's sit with our eyes closed, or if you prefer, gazing down towards the ground or towards your hands in your lap. You can give yourself some deeper breaths if you like. It sends a signal to your body that it's time to relax. Deeper breaths mean that you can relax into this moment, and ideally breathing through the nose. Breathing in slowly and fully, and breathing out slowly and fully. This sends a signal to your body to activate the rest and digest response, which is the antidote to the fight or flight response. So 3 long, slow, deep breaths at your own pace. And then let your breath return to its natural rhythm and depth. Throughout this practice, we're going to allow the breath to be natural. There's no need to regulate it or control it or deepen it. Whatever shows up, welcome it. Sometimes it can cause a little stress to bring your attention to your breath. And if that's the case, you can bring your attention, if you watch me, if you're feeling stressed, you can bring your attention to your hands and open them as you inhale and bring them together as you exhale. For those of you having a little challenge with the breathing. So letting the breath be natural. We begin now to welcome all the sounds in the environment. Noticing sounds that are near, maybe in your room or the other room, or those that are far away. Welcoming it all. Noticing how the sounds arise from the silence and return to the stillness, just like my voice. If you are moving your hands with your breath, you can let them rest on your lap when you feel more comfortable. Now begin to notice if you hear any sounds inside your body. Maybe you can hear your breath or your heartbeat. Maybe you can hear your tummy gurgling. Welcoming everything, resisting nothing. And now, with your gentle awareness, you can bring your attention to the sensations that are present right now physically for you. What is here? You can even imagine your attention is like a beam of light or a beam of love that you shine on your interior as you notice and your exterior as you notice maybe your face and your brow, your forehead or your eyes. Let everything soften. Perhaps you notice the air on your skin, or the way your lips come together, or your teeth behind your lips. Noticing sensations, coolness and warmth, lightness or heaviness. As you bring your attention now to your chin, you can tuck it slightly in and allow the back of your neck to lengthen a little bit. Letting your shoulders move away from your ears. And feeling what it feels like to sit here. Perhaps you notice the way your clothing feels on your skin. Or the support behind your back if you're sitting on a chair. Simply becoming aware of what is here now. The physical sensations of sitting or lying down. Perhaps you feel the way your hands are resting in your lap. You can soften your belly. And feel all the weight underneath you. The chair supporting your weight. Maybe the way your rear meets the chair. Feeling your hands, your feet. Scanning your entire body and noticing if there's a particular area that you tend to avoid or wish were different, or is calling you with some sort of sensation of pain or tightness or heat. Allow your attention to rest there, letting your attention be gentle and loving, keeping this area company like you would a good friend. After all, your natural attention is love. And then allow yourself to recognize what emotions are here or what residue of emotions linger. Perhaps you feel contentment or joy or peacefulness. Or you could feel some sadness or some grief or a little fear or anxiety. We're going to practice welcoming it since it's here anyway, whatever's here. Welcoming it with your gentle, non-judgmental attention. Welcoming everything, receiving everything, and recognizing that emotions are temporary. They need to move. They move and they come and they go like the clouds in the sky. And when we repress them or ignore them, they show up again and again. So just being honoring yourself and honoring the emotions that are here, because here they are anyway. And though many of us prefer the positive ones to the negative ones, of course, we're going to treat them all the same. And bringing your attention now to to the gentle rise and fall of your chest. Noticing the way your chest moves easily with each breath. Perhaps you feel your ribs moving, or your belly, or even your shoulders with each breath. Become aware of breathing in, become aware of breathing out, and the subtle sensations that are present. Perhaps the change in temperature, or the pauses between each breath. Whenever you notice your attention drifting away from the breath, bring it right back here. Right back here. It's okay. Be kind to yourself. Notice the movement wherever you feel it in your body. And notice the stillness. So we're going to be still now, like a still pond in mind and body. And we're going to imagine tossing a pebble into this pond. And each pebble is one of the sutras. And as you just toss it in, you let it ripple. We'll repeat each one 3 times silently to ourselves. So we'll begin. The first one, belonging, belonging, belonging. Safety, safety, safety. Stability, stability, stability. Nourishing, nourishing, nourishing. Peace, peace, peace. harmony, 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 joy, 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 love, 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 vitality, 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 friendliness, 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 strength, 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 holiness, holiness, holiness. And the last one, compassion, compassion, compassion. Sitting in the stillness for another minute or so. I'll keep track of the time. Being right here, right now. I'm going to sound the bell and invite you to keep your eyes closed as we come out of meditation slowly. can breathe in a little deeper if you care to, as you keep your eyes closed, and start to notice the light that's coming in through your eyelids. Start to notice the sensations once again in the body as you might move into the space around you or breathe more deeply. It's always important to come out of meditation slowly, even if you don't think it was very deep, because then that way you can embody some of the qualities that you've cultivated. Qualities of relaxation and restfulness, awareness, clarity, and peace. I invite you to open your eyes at your own pace, slowly, first with a downward gaze, and then open them all the way if you care to. I like to end my meditations by bringing my hands together in the prayer position, letting my thumbs touch my breastbone, and appreciating the love that lives through me as me. It's the same as the love that lives through you as you. This love, this force, this God, this divinity, whatever you want to call it, is calling you forth to live your greatest life, free from suffering and free from fear, with peace and compassion towards yourself and towards all living beings. So thank you for meditating with me. It's been my pleasure to be with you, and I hope you benefited in some way. I know for sure that your nervous system appreciated it, your immune system liked it. Whether you think you went deep or not, it does work. It changes the physiology, activates the rest and digest response. The more we can string these mindful, peaceful moments together, the more we will be able to live more fully and enjoy this time we're on this planet together or alone together, and making really more nourishing choices about how we want to feel and how we want to live. So I invite you, anyone who'd like to share how they're doing, if they need anything, or any kind of sharing they care to do. I want to welcome those of you who are new today, and I see a lot of familiar faces, and I see a lot of people that are joining us for the first time. Would anyone like to share, say hello?
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
This is Tara. I am
Tara.
actually one of your students' sisters. I'm Ian's little sister.
Oh, nice.
I was on yesterday with him. He was on when I was on. He was on. I was on this morning, and her meditation was just absolutely wonderful, very empowering. I felt so good. And I can't even begin to explain how much meditation has changed my life. I can't even begin to explain. And Ian had warned me, or he didn't warn me, but he told me that he gave me, I guess I could call it a heads up, that about experiencing emotion, while you're doing it. So it took me a little bit, and then it hit me, and so I cried as I was meditating, which was natural. And he told me that he feels his meditation in his diaphragm. And I would, at first, I would feel it in my chest. And then it started to move upwards. I was noticing it and I was feeling it. And I've been meditating, oh man, it's been, what was it? I think it was the day before yesterday marked his, since he went to the retreat. I think it was a year. And I believe I was meditating, I think about a month before he went to the retreat. And it took a while to work up to the point where, I started with a couple of minutes, once a day, but now I'm meditating as much as Ian is, and sometimes longer. On average, I do 20 minutes in the morning and then 20 minutes in the evening, and sometimes it's 25. It just depends on how I feel.
Well, Tara, can I thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here. And I love the ripple effect that our teachers are creating. And you said you're feeling your meditations in certain areas of your body. And, every meditation is going to be different, whether you've been meditating for 30 years or you just started. And some meditations are going to be very visceral. You'll feel this I sometimes feel like there's warm oil coming all through my body. And other times, I'm restless and bored. And other times I've got tears going down my face. And other times I just want to tell the gardener next door to stop his lawnmower. So every meditation is going to be different, and they all work regardless of the experience. But you mentioned something I think is important for people to know, that when we're relieving stress from the nervous system, we can have a whole lot of correlating actions or movements. We can have the movement of emotions. We can have movements in the body. Some people have their legs moving or twitching, or they feel hot or cold or tingly. And you can also have movements of your mind. You might have all kinds of random thoughts or colors or images. So, it doesn't much matter what goes on in meditation, but what does matter is that you do it, because like you said, it serves to change your perspective on everything, and it affects every aspect of your life. And at first it's subtle. At first it's just a little subtle, like the way the stress collects in our nervous system is subtle, and the way it's alleviated is subtle. And the same thing with the changes in meditation. Sometimes people will notice that we've changed before we notice. And they might say, God, you're a little less prickly, or you've got a little glow on, or you seem a little less dramatic, or you seem a little more engaged. And so some people might notice the changes in you before you do. But I can tell you one thing, it does work. Science proves it. And years ago when I first started meditating, it was, in 1980s. And I used to teach meditation starting in 1990s and 93. And I used to have to tell people, just believe me, it works, because there were no real studies on it. Now there's a study a day coming out, which, thank goodness, now that's evidence-based benefits. And we can start to see the way it changes the brain and the physiology and the immune system. But it does work, whether you know about it through studies or whether you're practicing it. It will work if you do it. And I always recommend being kind to yourself, not taking it too seriously, not trying too hard, and also that gentle movement into the meditation and that gentle coming out of the meditation. Because whether you know it or not, and whether you feel it or not, you go to a very deep state of rest in meditation. And if we measured it objectively, like hooking you up to an EEG machine or checking your respiration rate or your blood pressure, and even looking at your platelets, we would see that there's a difference between the way that most people are walking through the world and then the way their physiology responds to meditation. And it doesn't have much to do with what you're thinking about. It has to do with the way your body's responding to the practice. So even if you're restless and bored, even if you don't have a yummy feeling like Tara did, you will benefit from it. And remember, every meditation is different. Every minute is different. So thank you for sharing, Tara. Say hi to your brother. I don't know if he's on the call or not.
Oh, he's not on right now, but he was on this morning and yesterday.
Oh, great. Well, I invite all of your friends. Good.
He'll be on tomorrow too.
Well, it's a great little touchstone, especially as some of us are living alone, and some of us need a little community. Not a little, this is a big community. Right now there's still 40 of us. Sometimes there are 100 of us. Sometimes there are 80, sometimes there are 7. So we welcome you as part of this. And though you might not know me or know the people on this call, we are all a practice community, and there's an element of support that's essential for people who are on a spiritual path. And what a beautiful opportunity to get onto a spiritual path with this virus, and start to recognize there's more to life than meets the eye. For instance, the virus, but there's more to life than meets the eye. Like, the most beautiful things about life are invisible. You can't even touch them. You can only feel them, like love and compassion, like harmony and beauty. You just feel it, that communion with the divine, the inspiration and aha moments. So these are so beautiful. Would anyone else like to share? I think it was Helen Keller's quote that she said, the most beautiful things, and I'm just going to paraphrase, I don't have it with me, most beautiful things can not be seen or touched. They can only be felt with the heart. Something along those lines. Would anyone else like to share?
Sarah, I'd like to say something. This is Laura.
Hi, Laura. Hi.
Hi. You mentioned about the lawnmower, and while we were doing meditation, the guys were out there with their big machines mowing. And
Yeah.
a month ago, I got really upset, went around here all uptight, saying how much I didn't like the sound of it. And today, in meditation, I thought, they're making my view so beautiful. I was calm, and I just put it all in a positive light. And I said, they'll be done shortly, and it's going to be fine. And it's because of the meditation. I wasn't a bit upset. And now they've just finished, I think. So that worked out really good because I was in the background. But I wanted to mention, I believe it was you, because I was listening to Reed earlier in your sessions, who said, Atma Darshan, keeping the company of your own soul. And it made such an impact on me. I wrote it down and I have it hanging on my wall because this experience we're having is making us learn to keep company with our own souls. I know so many people who have to be out running here, running there, and going this and doing that. And now that they have to be home, I sometimes worry because I don't know how they're going to handle it. And I think this is keeping the company of your own soul is what we're doing right now. And thank you for giving us that quote last time. It was wonderful.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, it's actually the fourth state of consciousness for those of you who don't really know what we're talking about here. Most of us are used to moving between three states of consciousness. We're either awake, asleep, or dreaming, and each one has its own psychophysiological markers. But when we add meditation into the mix, we actually start to create a different experience, which has its own psychophysiological markers, which is called meditative state, or Atma Darshan. Darshan means company or direct experience. Atma means soul. And it's like you're the wave in the ocean. That's the Atma, the ocean being God, and you're the Atma, you're the expression of it. And so we have the direct experience of it. We dive in. We don't even have to try to feel it. It's not a gyration mentally or even philosophically. We're simply diving into this restful state. And for those people who are so externally focused and are dependent on the externals for their sense of well-being and their sense of self and their sense of safety and security, and a lot of us are that way, it's natural, this is a very challenging time for them. You may notice people are not mentally well. So, we want to be compassionate towards them, just like we're compassionate with ourselves and welcoming what we feel. A lot of people have never been stripped down like this before, and so that's why the book I wrote is called Soul Centered. I don't think it's in the middle of getting reprinted, but it's really about finding that center point of peace that's inside you, that's unshakable, that is always there looking through your eyes. It can be masked, it can be hidden, but it's always right here for you. And it's that inner sanctuary, that inner altar that you can worship at. And you're not worshiping yourself, you're worshiping that love that lives through you, and that's there all the time. So, thank you.